David Knight, Infowars.com, here with
Russan Etienne Jr., Dr. Etienne.
Now, thank you so much for what you did in this press conference. I was very moved by what you said in terms of bringing people together. Tell me about your organization first before we start talking about Danney.
Well, I'm with the ZOE Network, and we're an advocacy organization for entrepreneurs and small business owners. But also, we have the three pillars: advocacy, for our clients, access to capital, and then also education and educating people on who they are and whose they are, as we were sharing with Danney. And it's so important that we reach our young generation this day and time for them to find out who they are.
And that's what you were saying, was it makes so much difference for them to have that kind of grounding to know where they're coming from. That's one of the reasons that this spoke to you. So you said in the press conference that, many causes you're not interested in showing up, but you were interested in showing up for this cause.
Yes, I was very interested in this one because as a African Haitian American, I was missing something. I was well accomplished here, did my education, schooling, but didn't know who my father was. And that made such a difference when I finally got to get some information and get to know who he was. I only met him maybe 7 times in my lifetime, but you'd be surprised what it did for the anger that I had inside for not knowing who he was or who I was or where I was from. And now to find out the history and find out where I'm from makes such a difference. It's even causing me to act and move and get behind such gentlemen like Danney. His story was very strategic, and he needed to hear from someone that let him know that, hey, you're not alone.
And what we see, the pushback that we see from the press, is to just cynically say, why are you doing this? This is simply political. But you know that as an individual, and we can see how genuine Danney is, that as an individual, he is really seeking for an answer as to who his father is. And he sincerely believes that Bill Clinton is his father.
Yeah, and I know the feeling. He's hurting inside.
Yeah.
He is really hurting inside. And you'd be surprised, that little truth, just hearing, like Maury might say, you are the father. Just hearing from his dad that he is the father, it's going to change the dynamic of his life. It will really change him from the inside out. And it reminds me of the scripture, 1 Corinthians 13:11. It talks, when I was a boy, I spoke like a boy, I acted like a boy, but when I became a man, I did away with foolish things and I became a man. So now he's of age where he can stand up and he can fight. But then you're not just fighting just any old person. This is Bill Clinton you're talking about here.
Yeah.
So for him to have that courage and come out there knowing that he's been denied and flawed, that's a lot of courage that it's taken for him to do so.
And that's the key thing, too, because his mother, at the time he was born, believed that he was Bill Clinton's son. And in many states, you can put the father's name on the birth certificate, and that does it, because they want to make sure that they don't fill up the welfare rolls. Whether or not that's right or not, that is the situation in most states. Yes. And so in that particular situation, though, she would be intimidated to do that because he's the governor of the state at that time. Yeah. So this has gone on for a very long time. We look at the press pushing back against this, saying that this is simply opportunism. This is really intimidation, isn't it, for a very long time?
It really is. It really is. And when you're that age, you need encouragement and you need leadership to step up and be transparent and have a heart. Have a heart. These kids need to know. And it takes nothing to love them, hug them. Just tell them, who he is, who's his father. Those little words go a long way.
Yeah. Well, what I hope can come out of this? I hope there's a lot of fathers, black, white, every color, that are going to look at this and are going to understand whether or not Bill Clinton does the right thing. I hope they're going to understand what they're missing in their life and understand that they can step up and they can do the right thing. Danney didn't have that example. He still did the right thing with his family. I think there's a lot of fathers out there who haven't taken responsibility for their children. Maybe they can look at how this has affected Danney and see how that has hurt him and understand that they can not only take that away, but they can fill up that missing gap if they stand up and take up their role as a father.
Absolutely, and that's a goal that Dr. Randy and I want. We want to help these kids tell their stories. We want to get out there and encourage them to tell their stories. And also, from age 8 to 80, even our 80-year-old, I want to sit up under some older men that are hurting. I've met some older gentlemen in your 60s and 70s. They're still bitter and angry for not knowing who. Can you imagine 70, 80 years old sitting down and they still don't know who their fathers are? And they're angered. Yeah. And they're angered. So any chance I get, I'm sitting under the gray-haired men to get some advice and get some information. And that's one of the things that come up. We didn't really know. We knew he loved us, but he never said it.
Yeah.
He never confirmed it. we didn't really know. And you'd be surprised how important the father is in the life of a youth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's the importance of what you're doing with your organization, for everybody to see this. Thank you so much for what you do.
Yeah, because we want to make sure all we do is built by God, powered by faith, and operate in agreement.
That's right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. David Knight, Infowars.com with?
I'm Russon Etienne Jr., and I want to give a shout out to my daddy. He loves your station, Pastor James Rayner. He loves Infowars.
All right, will do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well,